This episode contains segments that may be unsuitable for some audiences. For your convenience, these segments have been identified in the timestamps within the description.
Yo, welcome to Concrete Cactus, episode 8, season 1, finale.
I was going to say Brandon was going to procreate, but now I got to say that he's going to procreate in Denali.
In Denali? Denali?
That's a place.
I think I know where Denali is. Is that in India?
I don't know. You got your real ID yet?
Nah, man. I need to do that, man.
Really? Is it really that bad in Jersey right now?
Yo, DMV is like crazy lines. You can't even book appointments right now.
It's the only thing I don't miss about Jersey is the DMV.
I'm assuming you got yours?
Had mine since 2014.
Smart man.
I could use my military ID to travel, so... No, but I got the real ID in like 2021.
I guess when they originally talked about it happening, I guess that's when you went and got it, huh?
Yeah, when they made me relinquish my membership to the great state of New Jersey.
You're no longer a citizen of the great state of New Jersey.
Even though I paid Jersey taxes for the first 2 years.
One of the first 13 original colonies. Should we get into a season recap?
Nah, make this quick and painless. The season started with fire, and it ended with fire.
Yeah, it did. In the first episode, I mentioned that it was arson. You remember? Remember I said that? I said it didn't look like it was natural. It looked like it was arson. And guess what? The New Jersey fires were arson.
Arson! Oh, I thought we were saying it together.
Yeah. Joseph Kling, 19, kid from Weirtown, has been arrested, charged with aggravated arson and arson. He left a bonfire of wooden pallets unattended, leading to the wildfire that has burned over 15,000 acres.
That's a lot of acres for New Jersey. Damn.
Yeah, man. It's the second largest wildfire in New Jersey in the last 2 decades.
We got a wildfire in New Jersey that burned tens of thousands of acres before GTA 6.
Wasn't no blue rule saving that. For all the conspiracy theorists out there. What's going on out there in Cactus Land?
Well, I don't know if you've seen, but we got speedboats doing somersaults in the only real non-man-made body of water that exists in this entire state. You see that video?
No.
You've seen it.
Wait. Speedboats doing somersaults? That's what you just said?
Yeah, the drum was going like 200 miles an hour, and it was like...
That's insane. I'm going to get into this. In the beginning of the season, we discussed New York being on I forgot how many days it was. Do you remember how many days?
It was a minute. It was like, I guess, what you said was something about a couple of days or like 2 weeks without a
shooting.
A murder or something like that.
Not even just a murder, a shooting.
And then as soon as they announced it, they started popping off like, 20 minutes later?
Yeah. So the city had a 5-day streak without a single shooting. That was in January for the first time in 30 plus years. But now violence is spiking in New York. And a lot of it is believed to be due to congestion pricing. And that is because the subways are super packed. So subway felonies assaults are up 9% compared to last year currently. And teen gun violence is up to 15%. It's up 15% compared to last year. And 67% higher than 2018. But yeah. A lot of these felonies, a lot of these assaults that are happening, these violent acts, they're occurring in the subway tunnels.
You mean at stations? Yeah, I mean, shook for a second. We got wilding out in the tunnels like it's the 70s again, huh? Wasn't New York just flexing about lowering their crimes in the subway since COVID or whatnot? When P. Diddy, where his name is, Sean P. McDuffie was in town.
So it's a balance because the subways aren't safe, and neither are the streets because of the shootings from these juveniles.
Yo, we have mixed martial arts fighters getting robbed, bro, out here. I'd rather out there than out here.
Mind you, 30% of these attacks are being targeted on police officers. Remember we had that one episode where we talked about the corpse in the subway?
Yeah, wasn't that last episode?
Was it? There's been a lot of stuff going on. But yeah. A fatal stabbing during rush hour, and then they increased the patrols. Safety underground is definitely slipping. And it seems like congestion pricing is just cramming people into that subway. And you know what happens when you get a lot of people in a subway system that's not air conditioned.
They get ignorant. They're like, it's hot.
Yeah.
Like, we know. Shut the fuck up.
But that's subjective.
Who you talking to? You nigga. What you gonna do, bitch? It's like, nah, let me stop.
This is his New York City impersonation.
That's not New York City.
That sounds like the Boondocks.
But yeah, back to these shenanigans happening in New York.
In New York,
Concrete Cactus, dreams that are made of.
we love to present to you
If we had a producer.
from New York.
Yeah, if we only had a producer from New York.
But yeah, bro. Yeah, it's believed that it's due to congestion pricing. Bottom line, whether you're above ground or below ground, New York City is in a dangerous place right now.
I don't believe it. I mean, I believe it, but then I don't believe it. I'm conflicted because there's people here who are scared to honk their horns because somebody on the 51 or the 10 might pull a rifle on them or something, pull a Glock on them or whatever, you know, like, who does Stephen A. Smith? Hey, listen, if I wanted to play devil's advocate here, I'd rather be in New York right now. If the only thing I got to worry about is standing a little too close to the edge of the platform before catching the 7th train or the path, man, I dare say the path. Does anything happen on the path system? Nope.
Port Authority be doing their thing.
We've seen 0 incidents on the path system in our heyday.
I have never, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a headline about something that happened on the path line ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Cleanest stations, they remodel frequently. Heated during the winter time.
Platforms.
And they try to maintain air temp in the summer times.
Oh man, if that's the only thing I got to worry about, yeah, so be it.
Reality check. Come on, let's get into it.
So out here in Arizona, quite a large disability community, roughly 60,000 moderately to severely disabled Arizonans, the DDD, are currently, or was, in a $122 million funding shortage. Republicans and the Democrats came together in bipartisan shit. You know, the type of thing that John McCain would always...
John McCain, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I hear that name every other day. So the agreement was to supply the DD of $122 million in supplemental funding to get it through the end of the fiscal year. Passed through both chambers. Legislator signed into law a couple days ago. That was after months of fighting between the Republicans who would control the legislator and the governor, who is a Democrat.
If I'm hearing this correctly, they boosted the budget?
They were able to cover the $122 million in funding that they needed to continue to operate through the end of the fiscal year.
W's in the chat.
On a personal note, for those who don't know or who've been living under a rock, my child is autistic, very autistic. He is verbal, but not verbal enough to a degree to be considered Asperger'd, if you will. He's been receiving treatment since he was 2, and it's hard. It really is hard, because when you're basically protecting a child who's very curious, more curious than your atypical child, from himself and the world around them, it's sad because, you know, that child didn't mean no harm for himself. And these kids, they're really intelligent. They're really smart. But they don't have a voice. And the DDD, that's where the DDD comes in. They help put together services for children like him, such as long-term care, respite care, speech therapy, amongst other things. Fortunately, the services that are being provided for the child from me and my co-parent, they are covered through insurance. But then even then, those co-pays, they hit a couple $1,000s a year, which is funny because I'm just gonna just put it out there. You start to see the true colors of people when it comes to special needs children. It's like you start to see people who have enough of a conscience to make sure these cats are good, whether they're 3 years old, 5 years old, 15 years old, 16, 20 years. I mean, so they're old. I mean, anybody who has a serious developmental disability, I cry on the inside for. They're the most misunderstood people in the world. We never ranted about
I thought the doctor's visit.
Yeah, that's dentist, bro.
Yeah, but then we didn't use that.
Nah, we didn't use it. All I know is that I learned a lot from this, and I guess what I was trying to harp on, because I'm scatterbrained right now, is that it took well over a year for me and my co-parent to get him situated with the state's DDD program. That's how tight their budget is. Not even was, is. Struggling to get him these services. And we're in the process now to where somebody is assigned to our case, and they will be getting those services together within the next couple weeks. Thank God. And that's only after, ironically, after this bill was signed, literally like the same day. I was just about to pick him up from his treatment, and some ladies came on the phone and was like, "Hey, congratulations, your child is qualified. He's been accepted into the state plan." So it's just a beautiful thing, but it's one of those things where you're already numb to it because you've already went through years of your life making sure this kid is good. Like, it's not easy, and it's unfortunate, which is why I'm a big advocate for people to really take any cognitive inconsistencies or differences that you or somebody else may feel real seriously, because this could have been a whole lot worse for him if we didn't catch it early. If you or someone you know, love, or hate, is showing
Wait,
signs,
did you just say love or hate?
yeah, who is showing signs of autism, I strongly recommend you guys to research that shit. If it's you, to see a psychiatrist. If it's them, encourage them to see a psychiatrist and be supportive about it, because a lot of people don't realize a lot of the issues that they experience, behavioral issues and relationship issues and social issues, all that stuff could be aligned to what they call level 1 autism. My child's more or less level 3. There's only 3 levels. I've known quite a few people who show signs of level 1 autism, and I really do hope and wish that they find it within themselves to check that out, because I'm not a psychiatrist. It's just like how a Freemason, becomes a Freemason. You got to know when to be one. I know one when I see one, and that goes for ADHD and OCD.
And Freemasonry.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Good job, Arizona. I fucking hate living here, but I give that to you.
W's in the chat.
Yeah, give credit where credit's due. Treat these autistic people with respect, because they can't speak for themselves, man. Or they're limited in what they can say for themselves. God forbid. God forbid anybody puts my kid in a compromised position. I swear to God. Continue before I start crying.
That is a reality check for real. You ready to get into this week's discussion?
Let me get out of my Jason Kelsey state of mind. The draft finally happened.
It finally
and
happens.
Your boy Shedeur
My
isn't
boy.
giant as expected, right? Honestly, he wasn't in anything for the first, second, third, fourth, maybe the first 5 selections of the 5th round. In an NFL draft that appeared to have been some sort of a proxy war between Coach Prime's known contributions to the population and the somebodies or someones within the NFL.
Leaving the internet in a very left and right, divided, polarized, opinionated state. And what better way than for us on Concrete Cactus to give you the good old non-biased opinion from every side.
We're just going to talk about it like 2 niggas who care about what's going on.
Why I gotta be all that? Why I gotta be all of that?
Because all these other people don't give a shit.
Shedeur Slide. First round predicted draft pick, slid to 5th round, 144, 45?
It was the 5th round. That's all I remember.
144. He slid from a first round projected draft pick quarterback to the 5th round, the 144th pick, losing a whopping $40+ million by sliding to this 5th round. Was he overhyped? Was he blackballed? Was it hype versus reality?
Were they just using him as a proxy to his father?
Was the NFL using him for views? I guess we should start from the beginning. Start from college.
Well, you
Colorado.
seem to be more into Brother Man than I am. Even though I've actually seen him play.
In person?
In the flesh. Yeah, he came out of the ASU last season.
How
2
was that?
seasons ago.
Was
Shit
it packed?
It was jumping. That was the infamous game where he put his wrist up to the crowd.
They went 9-4 in 2024. They missed the playoffs. Offensive line issues exposed him. He took over 40 sacks, 90 over the last 2 seasons. And that began to question his pocket awareness, his decision-making abilities, and his ability to handle NFL pressure compared to college pressure. Then there's a talk about his dad and the debate of whether he was a celebrity quarterback or if he was truly an NFL caliber quarterback and ready to go to the NFL. I mean, you've seen him play in person. You've seen the effect that he has on games. I think he's 3rd in jersey sales already. Behind Cam Ward and who is number 2? Oh, Travis. Travis is 2, and then he's 3rd, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. There's also the side that he may be under a lot of pressure and being watched more because he's Deion's son. You know what's crazy, bro? His dad in 2018 made this tweet that said, "I love what the Browns have done this offseason, but if I'm a young quarterback, ain't no way I'm going to Cleveland. I would pull an Eli Manning if possible." He put Eli Manning in caps. If possible. I'm going to tell you, one of my working theories is that the Browns made him call and apologize for this tweet. How ironic that he gets drafted by the Browns. How ironic that they traded their second overall pick to go back to 5 and chose not to draft him at 5.
I can imagine how that phone call went, bro. Prime was already like, "It's a man of God. We all make mistakes. Blessed Redeemer. I sincerely apologize for my remarks back in 2018. You ever seen that video? I think it was
What
Coach
video?
Prime. It was him in a church, and then out of nowhere he calls R. Kelly up to the stage.
This sounds familiar. I don't know where I saw this. But this sounds mad familiar.
It's had to be like 10, 15 years ago, bro.
And not just for
Dude,
this year.
I don't know
This
why.
is
I don't know
president
why
right
this
now.
is even trending
I wanna
right
say
now,
one
but
last-
we acknowledge the man is hurt. We ain't laughing at the fact that this man believes in God. We believe in God. We're laughing at the fact that this man just magically pops up at the church with Coach Prime, bro. You don't see shit like that.
Let's
That
get
man
back to
came in
this.
church looking like Blade, bro.
Talk about your boy Stephen A. Smith and what he had to say.
He thought it was blasphemous. It was a tragedy. It was a disgrace. He used every word but racist. He definitely felt that the NFL owners or the executives who plotted that mess most certainly had out for Prime, because Prime wasn't their best friend. Prime was just too loud for them. Now, there's some race involved? Probably. But I don't think it's as prevalent as some other people not named Stephen A. Smith thinks or may feel.
What about the timing? How do you feel about this timing? Because, he just got criticized for how he was speaking on LeBron and Bronny. And here we go talking about another black father and his black son in sports, living up to expectations. But it seems like he's going on the opposite side this time and
Yeah, he does
defending.
think that Prime, little Prime's more talented and more ready for his respective league than Bronny was or is. Excuse me. And then also on the top, you also got to consider too, him and Prime are boys. Like, they're like this. Him and LeBron are like this. So it's different.
Trump's reaction to it, he tweeted about it.
Word.
Saying that
When
someone
the
needed
president
to
of the United
draft him.
States, and this guy just known for saying things that raise eyebrows. You ain't see Stephen A. Smith get endorsed by Trump the other night? He was like, he'd probably make a good president. Even he had a very, in my personal opinion, a very agreeable remark that he had put out about this situation. It's like, this makes no sense whatsoever. It was predicted that he was going to go the first round, at worst the second.
To slide to 5 is insane, bro.
Word.
To go from a projected top 10 pick to slide to 144 and lose over $40 million in rookie contract pay is insane. A little fishy. I'm not gonna lie, it is a little fishy.
This is what the president of the United States said on night 1 of the draft, as tweeted and truthed on his platform. And I quote, "What's wrong with NFL owners? Are they stupid? Deion Sanders was a great college football player. That's right. He was even greater in the NFL. He's also a very good coach, streetwise, and smart. very good coach. Therefore, Shedeur, his quarterback son,
Shedeur.
has phenomenal genes.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal genes. And it's all set for greatness. He would be picked immediately.
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 Phenomenal.
By a team who wants to win. Good luck, Shedeur, and say hello to your wonderful father.
Yeah, that sounds mad crazy, bro. Like he should have just tweeted him.
I'm just gonna say, man, there's things that I roll with Trump. There's things I don't roll with Trump. I'm speaking for myself, not the DOD. I am not gonna disparage that man, but that is funny as hell.
Phenomenal.
He said he should be picked immediately. Somebody dead ass briefed him about that shit, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy that someone briefed him about. I didn't even think about that part. Someone had to come to him and brief him on this. That's one side of the opinionated internet. The other side is the analytical review of Shedeur Sanders and saying that it had nothing to do with bias. I'm going to read something real quick. It was about performance and attitude. Reports from the combine painted him as entitled, with one coach calling it the worst interview they had, adding the fact that he took in a beating behind Colorado's weak O-line, and some teams just weren't convinced that he could handle the NFL speed. Online, a lot of fans are pointing out that the media hype might have set expectations he wasn't ready to meet.
Also got to consider that he was very disinterested in many of his interviews with teams.
Yep.
Reportedly.
Yep. Reportedly, there was a conversation that Brian Daboll had a conversation with him, an interview, said that he wasn't prepared in the interview, called him out on not being prepared in the interview, and that Shedeur reacted negatively to it. So I guess you could X off why the Giants didn't take him.
You should know he was on the Jets in 2007 with Eric Mangini.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was the quarterback coach.
Those are the two polarizing sides.
Brian Daboll was a offensive coordinator when Jalen Hurts was in Alabama. Ain't that something?
Interesting.
And they couldn't beat the Eagles, huh? Yo, New York sports is funny as hell, bro. But please continue.
Let's talk about the other teams in the draft before we get into the wrap up on all of this. We had Travis Hunter go to Jacksonville in a style that compared to Madden. Dude was drafted by the youngest GM in the NFL. Dude was born in 92.
Wait, who was it?
I don't know dude's name. I just know he's...
Don't tell me it's the dude from AEW, because his father owns the Jaguars.
I don't know. Dude, shout out to the 90s babies. We out here. You already know what it is.
Nah, it's James Gladstone. That young as hell. That dude like 32 years old.
You know he was playing Madden growing up. This trade had Madden written all over it. This is some type of stuff that I would do if I was playing Madden. There's a lot of comparisons going on about Travis Hunter and Shohei because of the two-way player.
True.
He's the first modern era two-way player in the NFL. I think the last person would be Deion, honestly, who was his coach in college.
What?
Yeah, boy, Travis Hunter made a little comeback though.
He did. And I'm actually glad that he figured out his situation with his lady, because
It was
that
looking
was
bad.
pretty embarrassing.
It was
to a
looking
degree.
bad.
I'm not going to make it more or less than what it is, but I'm glad they took care of it behind closed doors, because unfortunately, we live in a day and age, ladies and gentlemen, where nobody's clean and immune from their ego, or, well, the untamed version of their ego. And that young lady did not represent him well.
At all.
But I'm glad they figured it out. If I were dating somebody like that, I would want to probably hash it out privately and take in consideration what anybody says to me, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, making my decision, because we live in a world, ladies and gentlemen, where we quit on people so fucking easily.
I would have to assume they got her PR training after that.
Where they got her PR training, they probably went relationship therapy, but they got money, so it was easier for them to be able to hash that out. But I'm glad they did, because there's some people with money, they don't hash that shit out, bro. They just wash their hands of it. And what's the nationality? She mixed?
I have no idea. Good question though.
There's stereotypes about women of different ethnicities and how they act, but I've always found that the mixed ones and the Afro-Caribbean ones, they got some chips on their shoulders that they have yet to shave off. And it takes the right man or the right attitude to shave it off, because some of them, they might have the right man, but they can't handle it. Stupid fly. But nah, shout out to him for handling that shit.
Oh, they've been together since high school, apparently, but
Yeah, exactly. They've been together for a minute.
she's Black, Filipino, and Mexican. Born at the UK and moved to the US at the age of 10.
Yeah, there's some childhood trauma there, maybe.
Not projecting here. We're not projecting here.
We're just speculating.
Or stereotyping. Trends show that her household may have had a little bit of an issue. And we're going to just leave it right there. Trends show. Historical data.
I know it when I see it. I mean, well, most of the time. I don't get it right all the time, but that young lady looked like she just needed a little push.
She's Black, she's Filipino, and she's Mexican. That sounds like a crazy mix. Not gonna lie.
That's a nice mix, if you ask me. Like on the romantic side of things, of course, but on the behavioral side of things, the mental side of things,
That's what I'm saying.
Filipinos to Mexicans are as Jamaicans to the British or to the Irish, because they are more resemblance of us. But more or less, they basically a spin-off of a culture.
I thought you was comparing Mexicans to Brits.
No, I'm comparing Jamaicans to Brits. Well, Irish, yeah, Brits.
Irish, no, not Brits. Irishmen. I'd make that comparison maybe a little
Well,
bit.
I've dated an Irish woman for a bit, and I can tell you definitely a inverse Jamaican
That's what I'm saying.
in all the right and wrong ways.
Very similar to Jamaican culture. Well, yeah, very similar to
to
Jamaican
culture, similar traumas.
Personality is very similar.
We
It's
were
different.
both bitches to the British.
Let's talk about your Eagles draft recap. How did your Eagles do, or how do you think they did?
The Eagles, they came into the draft with a lot of expectations because previous drafts they picked up some superstars. Like for instance, last year, the one Cooper DeJean
DeJean.
was selected, and we all saw what he did this season and in the Super Bowl. Exciting White himself.
Exciting whites.
And they wanted to fix their defense, or you know what? Not fix their defense necessarily, but fill in the holes of the defense that were made when the likes of Brandon Graham retired and others left the team
Or were cut.
I don't know.
Traded.
Was Slay released, or did he just wanted to? He didn't want to take less money.
Nah, they released him, bro. They released like, but this is not the first time. Isn't it like the second time they've done this to him?
He did that last season, and they picked him up again. I think it had to be about money this time too. But anyway, they were aggressive. They picked up Jahad Campbell, who so happened to be from Alabama, and 6 of their 10 picks were defensive players.
Crazy.
Now, one thing that they didn't address and backfire is the offensive skill players. No new wide receivers, like they need any though, when you think about it. No running backs, but then, when somebody goes down in that running back or that wide receiver corps, they're going to wish they had a rookie.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to wish they had a rookie because Devontae and AJ and Saquon, they will stay healthy to a point. I mean, Saquon, he was healthy all season. He managed. Like, I was surprised to see that he didn't lose any pep in his step. The entire season was smooth. A lot of maintenance, a lot of scheduled maintenance for the Philadelphia Eagles. Hence the Alabama first round pick.
Alabama. Roll Tide.
I was like, when I heard about that, I'm like, which school did he go? Oh, I'm not surprised. They want to build a dynasty out there in Philadelphia, and I'm for it.
Giants draft recap. Those
All I know
guys.
is that you can start because you already know what I'm going to say.
They passed on Sanders, clearly. They made a huge statement trading back in and getting Jackson Dart, and then taking a real swing at a long-term answer at quarterback. We'll see how that goes, because without Jackson Dart, what are we looking at? Mr. Unlimited has what? 1 year? 2 years?
Mr. Unlimited. The future's arch nemesis at the end of the day.
There you go. Then you got Jameis Winston.
Webby award-winning quarterback Jameis Winston.
He's a really good veteran mentor for other quarterbacks.
He's probably the official chaplain for the New York Giants at this point.
Then you got this guy, Jax Dart, who's going to be probably third string. No, honestly, he'll probably be fourth behind Cutlets.
Johnny Cutlets.
Who's still on the roster. But he has some time to develop.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie.
They got a split locker room in there. They making DI hires, or DIE hires as we call them on the show. But later they focused on the versatile depth of getting Cam Skattebo the Scat Pack man himself.
Yeah, that was probably the flashiest pick they made the entire draft, in my humble opinion.
And a lot of people were calling for
If that's their answer to, say, Sean Barkley,
not bad.
they might be good in the running back position for a little while.
Draft quality was really good this year. I like what they did. Now just see how it translates onto the field. I honestly think this is going to be a huge year for Brian Daboll. If the Giants are like underperforming really bad like last year, I think he's gone.
Daboll, yeah.
And with that, let's move on to the other side of New York. My team, the New York Jets, they drafted O-line in this order: tight end, cornerback, wide receiver, D-back, which is the safety from Alabama, linebacker from Miami, if I'm not mistaken, and then they went DN at the end. Very smart. They filled a lot of holes. It has the potential to be a home run, this draft, for us, but I think a lot of it is going to depend on the development of these rookies and how they play midseason. You hear about Deion Sanders' other son getting not drafted but picked up by the Bucks.
Yeah, he got picked up by the Bucks.
His new agent got him a gig with the Bucks like same day. So maybe that's Shedeur's issue.
He's the youngest one, well, that we know of.
I'm actually interested to see how this plays out for the Browns. They now have 5 quarterbacks on their roster. Watson, Flacco, who am I missing? What's the other guy name?
Wait.
What's this guy's
Was it Kenny Pickett?
Pickett. Wait. Is it Pickett?
New Jersey's very own Kenny Pickett.
Who am I missing then?
Some guy named Dylan Gabriel.
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Deion probably had to call the Browns and apologize. And it didn't happen until after they drafted Dylan Gabriel. 5 QBs on your roster is insane. But, I mean, it's also a blessing in disguise. Dude doesn't have that much pressure on him.
Shedeur's
Pickett.
guaranteed QB3. Minimum.
You have to kind of assume that they're going to cut Watson.
Yeah, he's just sitting there.
He's been on crutches for like half a decade. I guess that kind of wraps up our whole spiel on Shedeur. So you guys make your sound decisions and opinions on where you stand, whether he's been blackballed and played out of $40+ million, or if he got drafted at true value. But we'll find out in another maybe 8 months. And that's our main discussion, dude.
So we're going to fact check before we wrap up here. Give me a sec. Some of this is so corny. I had said that they are currently tearing down, or they're about to tear down, the world's oldest Taco Bell down in Scottsdale. That is false. There's no evidence that Scottsdale has the world's oldest Taco Bell. It has one of the world's oldest Taco Bells. The oldest Taco Bell was in Downey, California in 1962.
I didn't know you was talking literal when you said that. I thought you was being, what you call it?
Exaggerated?
Yeah, I thought you was just exaggerating. I didn't think you were like literal about when you said that. What did we talk about in sports last episode?
We was talking about the Suns' new coach or head coach, Cockroach.
Oh yeah, we was talking about the odds.
So apparently, I said that we spent the most money in the NBA. Apparently the Suns, they're among the top spenders, but as of 2024, 2025, Warriors, Clippers, Bucks have higher total payrolls.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought Bucks, but I could have definitely said Warriors and Clippers. The Suns are still top 4, top 5 spending teams in the NBA.
Yep. Dang, I was the one making all the false allegations on the last episode. Look at you. Look at you.
Let's get into something a little bit more serious. This episode Ocho, No Cinco, is the last episode of the season 1 of Concrete Cactus, presented by yours truly. How do you feel about the season?
Brings me back to a better time.
What's that better time?
15 years ago.
Sheesh.
We did those videos on YouTube, and
how much were eggs 15 years ago?
they weren't $2 like they were on GoPuff.
Shout out to GoPuff for $2 eggs.
If GoPuff was around 15 years ago, them Jones would have been like $1, like right next to the Arizona iced tea.
50 cents.
So this is something I'm really happy that we decided to put together so impromptu and so quickly. It's a beautiful thing because I didn't realize that this would be something that would put us in a position to express ourselves in a way that we've always been expressing ourselves privately and somewhat publicly. But it also gives us an opportunity to be able to make a difference on how we perceive the world. Because we live in a world now where a lot of people, man, they laugh at other people, but they can't laugh at themselves. And when they're laughing at other people, they're laughing at them instead of with them. We're still trying to give this platform, this program, this product, this medium, something that is consistent. And that comes from life experiences as well as really taking the time to see the world outside the box. So with that, we say again, thank you. We look forward to continuing this side quest that we've embarked on.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking way too seriously now.
I think it's been a very revealing and telling experience. You know, originally we came into this doing a dry run, right?
This entire season was a dry run.
It was kind of, what was it? The week before New Year's, I think I hit you up and I was like, yo, let's do something.
I think it was 2 weeks prior. It was probably that post that I made. It was that
Yeah,
Instagram story. I had said things I got to do in 2025. I think one of them was start a podcast, and if I don't kill myself. But no, it's been something that's been at the back of my mind for so long. I just needed to do it with the right person. I needed to do it at the right time with the right idea of how to portray a narrative.
Yeah, and deliver a product, a sound product. I think we've come a long way. The show has developed a lot. If you've been watching since the first episode, then you know things have evolved over time. Even quality has evolved over time. The way we discuss things has evolved over time. The only thing that stayed consistent is the fires. So I think that was the biggest thing for us, was like seeing the things on the internet and people not understanding their side is subjective. That was big for you this season. I think you mentioned being subjective a lot this season.
Yeah,
a lot
of things that we've become a world that is thrown discretion and mindfulness out the window, especially mindfulness, because people, they talk about, being mindful, did it like, y'all not being mindful where 1 minute y'all clowning somebody like Jonathan Majors for his transgressions, but then y'all trying to buy $300, $400 seats to a Chris Brown show. Nothing against Chris Brown, very talented man. I have nothing against the man, but it's this double-edged sword that a lot of us are living on. Like, why can't y'all critique both of those niggas?
Yeah, shout out to Chris Breezy, by the way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks like Jonathan Major sort of rehabilitated himself a lot better than Chris Brown, I would say. But at the end of the day, they're still both guilty of stuff, whether it was 2-3 years ago or 15 years ago. Well, Chris Brown didn't have a lot of other transgressions after that, but that just happened to be the most infamous one. But the point I'm trying to make here, y'all, is that fairness and impartialness shouldn't be discretionary. That should be as much as possible. And when y'all not, just own that shit. Just own it.
Yeah.
Like, shit, everybody wants to be right all the time. It's okay to be wrong. Well, depending on how wrong you are, but see, y'all behind a glass screen, so quick for somebody to say something and then to clap back, because that's somebody who's 2,000 miles away, or it could be a bot, and there's no consequences or no repercussions. Well, rarely any repercussions and rarely any consequences, but you get my point. This is just us walking the walk and doing our part.
And sharing it with you along the way. I think that's all I really had to say. It's been an honor to do the season with you. It's been an amazing 8 episodes. I'm ready for the next season. What's going to happen, for anyone who's wondering, we're going to go on a 1-month hiatus and focus on a couple things and work on a couple things. And that includes figuring out how we want to deliver a better product to you guys. So we'll still be dropping rails, right?
Yeah.
We'll still be engaging on social media. Follow us on X, Concac Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Concac Podcast.
Follow us on Blue Sky, Concac Podcast.
And like, comment, subscribe still. And share, bro. Share with people who might not have the same opinion as you, and you think you had an opinion with us and you want them to see both sides instead of being one-sided.
I shared it with one of my coworkers who's going through a hard time right now, and we put a smile on her face. So
that's good.
Kudos.
W's in the chat. I guess for the last time this season. In the arms of...
Say we wrap this up.
For the last time this season. Drum roll, please. From the concrete.
I don't know if I really want to read all this.
Oh, God. I'm going to just watch the Warriors game while you do this.
I'll do this in style.
I don't know what that means.
You'll find out in a second. Hello.
You saved this for the end of the episode on purpose, didn't you?
I'll sum it up in 2 words. Be humble. Matter of fact, I had a few more words. Be humble, which apparently doesn't apply once you hit 10K and start hashtagging child of God in your thirst traps. Cactus.
I'd say this. My tip of the week for you guys is, and since we were wrapping up on, religion, if you pray for something and you believe that God is not answering your prayer, maybe it's not what you want, and that's why you can't hear his answer. My tip of the week is keep your options open, because even when you pray for, let's say you pray for $100, but instead of you just getting $100, someone offers you a job. Sometimes things are a little deeper. Sometimes things come in a different form. And maybe instead of you getting $100, someone asks you to do something for them and they offer to pay you $100. Not everything in life is easy, and not everything comes as you wish. With that being said, peace and hair grease, because I think I need some.
Stay warm.